Marcus Rodriguez thought he was building the next Slack when he raised $12.7 million from Sequoia Capital in March 24. His team communication platform FlowSync had 50,000 daily active users and contracts with Tesla, Netflix, and Goldman Sachs. Then, on September 15th at 3:47 p.m. Pacific Time, his head of engineering, Sarah Kim, walked into his Palo Alto office holding a laptop. She showed him something that made his face go white. A workflow automation running on Make.com was replicating every single feature of FlowSync in real time, processing the same data, generating the same insights for $23 per month instead of his enterprise pricing of $8,000 annually. FlowSync wasn't alone. Between January and November 2024, 47 venture-backed startups discovered that their core business model could be replicated by a single automation workflow. These weren't simple apps or basic tools. We're talking about companies like DataPulse, which raised $8.2 million from Andreessen Horowitz for their customer analytics platform, or MeetingMind, valued at $15 million after their Series A with Kleiner Perkins for AI-powered meeting summaries. Each discovered that months of engineering work, hundreds of thousands in development costs, and teams of specialized developers could be replaced by drag-and-drop automation tools that required zero coding knowledge. The founders didn't see it coming because they were looking at the wrong threat. While they worried about competitors with bigger engineering teams or deeper pockets, a completely different category of tool was quietly making their entire business model obsolete. The pattern started becoming clear in late 2023 when automation platforms like Make.com, Zapier, and N8N began integrating with advanced AI models. Dr. Jennifer Walsh at Stanford's Computer Science Department published research in December 2023 showing that 73% of SaaS startups were essentially sophisticated data pipelines wrapped in user interfaces. Her team analyzed 1-200 Y Combinator companies from 2020 to 2023 and found that most were performing variations of the same core functions: ingesting data from APIs, processing it through algorithms, and presenting results in dashboards. What took these companies 6 to 18 months to build could theoretically be replicated in automation workflows within hours. Walsh's paper, titled "The Commoditization of Software Logic," predicted exactly what would happen in 2024, but venture capitalists dismissed it as academic speculation. The first major casualty was InsightFlow, a $4.3 million Series A company that analyzed social media sentiment for Fortune 500 brands. CEO David Park had spent 14 months building proprietary algorithms to process Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn data. His team of 12 engineers worked 16-hour days perfecting natural language processing models. Then, in February 2024, automation expert Jake Morrison built an identical system using Make.com scenarios that pulled social media data through official APIs, processed it using OpenAI's GPT-4 for sentiment analysis, and output the results to Google Sheets and Slack. The entire workflow took Morrison 4 hours to build and cost InsightFlow's clients 97% less to operate. When Park saw Morrison's demo video on YouTube, he called an emergency board meeting the same day. The second wave hit customer service startups. But this time, the founder fought back. Reply Genius had raised $6.8 million from first-round capital for their AI customer support platform. CEO Amanda Foster wasn't going down without a fight. Her proprietary system analyzed support tickets, categorized issues, and generated responses using machine learning models that 23 employees, including PhD-level engineers from MIT and Carnegie Mellon, had spent 2 years perfecting. Then, automation consultant Lisa Chen did something that should have been impossible. She replicated their entire system in a single afternoon using Make.com, OpenAI's API, and Airtable. But here's what Chen discovered that terrified every SaaS founder watching. Her version was actually better. Maintained customer history and automated databases. The workflow handled the same volume of tickets with identical accuracy rates, but operated for less than $50 monthly instead of Reply Genius's enterprise pricing of $12,000 per year. The third revelation destroyed the meeting intelligence sector. Companies like Otter.ai and Gong had built massive businesses around recording, transcribing, and analyzing business calls. But new automation workflows combined Zoom's native recording features with Whisper API for transcription and GPT-4 for analysis. These workflows automatically joined scheduled meetings, recorded conversations, generated summaries, extracted action items, and distributed reports to stakeholders. The entire process ran without human intervention for approximately $15 per month per user, compared to existing solutions that charged between $30 and $60 monthly. Meeting Minds founder Rachel Torres discovered this when a potential client showed her an automation that produced superior meeting insights at one-fourth the cost. Everything changed on June 18, 2024, when automation expert Alex Hormozi published a video titled, "I replaced a $10 million startup with 3 hours of work." Hormozi had taken DataSync, a customer data platform valued at $11.2 million, and recreated its functionality using Make.com workflows that connected Salesforce, HubSpot, and PostgreSQL databases. His automation performed the same data synchronization, duplicate detection, and lead scoring that DataSync's team of 19 engineers had spent 2 years perfecting. The video gained 2.3 million views in 72 hours, and suddenly every startup founder was questioning whether their proprietary technology was actually proprietary at all. The automation framework that emerged from these replications follows a consistent pattern that's devastatingly simple. First, identify the startup's data sources, which are usually public APIs from platforms like Salesforce, Google, Facebook, or industry-specific services. Second, map the data transformations the startup performs, which typically involve filtering, categorizing, calculating metrics, or generating insights using AI models. Third, determine the output destinations, usually dashboards, reports, email notifications, or integrations with other business tools. Fourth, build the automation workflow using visual programming tools that connect these components without requiring traditional coding skills. The entire process rarely takes more than 8 hours for experienced automation specialists. Dr. Michael Stern from Harvard Business School studied this phenomenon and published findings in October 2024, showing that venture-backed startups were particularly vulnerable because they optimized for scalability rather than defensibility. His research team analyzed 847 startups that raised Series A funding between 2020 and 2023, finding that 68% could be functionally replicated using no-code automation tools. Stern's data revealed that startups focusing on data aggregation, workflow automation, and AI-powered analysis were most at risk, while companies with physical products, network effects, or regulatory moats remained protected. But here's what the study didn't predict: the psychological breakdown that came next. The human cost became apparent when Layer Logic, a $9.4 million data visualization startup, laid off 37 employees in August 2020. But it wasn't just the layoffs that shocked Silicon Valley. Founder Tom Bradley had spent 3 years building custom dashboards for enterprise clients, but automation workflows using tools like Retool and Bubble could generate identical visualizations in minutes. Former layer logic engineer Maria Santos told TechCrunch that watching clients replace their sophisticated platform with simple automations felt like seeing years of your life's work become irrelevant overnight. Santos now works as a freelance automation consultant, helping other companies avoid the fate that befell her former employer. The venture capital response was swift and brutal. Kleiner Perkins partner Amanda Foster announced in September 2024 that the firm would no longer invest in startups whose core functionality could be replicated using existing automation tools. Foster's internal memo, leaked to the information, stated that due diligence would now include automation replication tests, where partners attempt to rebuild startup functionality using no-code platforms. Sequoia Capital followed with similar guidelines, requiring portfolio companies to demonstrate technical moats beyond basic API integration and data processing. The new investment criteria eliminated entire categories of startups that had previously attracted millions in funding. The pattern revealed something fundamental about the startup ecosystem that nobody wanted to acknowledge. Many venture-backed companies weren't building revolutionary technology. They were running elaborate cons. Here's the brutal truth that made Marcus Rodriguez quit tech entirely. These founders knew their products could be replicated. Internal Slack messages leaked from FlowSync revealed conversations where Marcus himself joked about charging enterprise prices for glorified spreadsheet functions. The real business model wasn't innovation, it was exploitation. They deliberately obscured simple processes behind complex technical jargon, convincing Fortune 500 companies to pay millions for what amounted to expensive data copy-paste operations. When automation tools ripped away this facade, something unexpected happened. The survivors pivoted toward automation-resistant models, companies with physical components, regulatory requirements, network effects, or proprietary data sources that couldn't be easily replicated. The casualties learned that in a world where APIs connect everything and AI can process anything, being a sophisticated middleman isn't enough to justify venture-scale valuations. The automation framework that killed these 47 startups isn't secret knowledge locked away in Silicon Valley vaults. It's available to anyone willing to spend a weekend learning drag-and-drop programming tools. The question isn't whether your startup idea can be automated away. The question is whether you'll build the automation that makes someone else's business model obsolete, or whether you'll be the one getting a call from your head of engineering with very bad news.